Hello and welcome you watching the Thursday edition of This is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. It started as a covert cyber war to shadowy proxy battle between Iran and Israel. Now it's turned out to be a full-blown war, and it's no longer limited to Israel and Iran, with the United States of America also stepping in. Tonight on This is Exclusive, we get you detailed ground reports not just from Israel and Iran, but also from Lebanon. Has Iran been isolated? What really happened to Iran's allies? All this and much more on this edition of This is Exclusive. But up first, let me take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Israel releases video of IDF strike on Iran's Arak nuclear facility. Iranian missiles strike Soroka hospital in Beersheba in Israel, where IDF soldiers are undergoing treatment. The only channel with exclusive ground reports, Republic reports from Israel, Iran and Lebanon. No end to Air India's technical snags. Multiple flights delayed and cancelled, but Air India yet to give any answers. Ladies and gentlemen, as the smoke begins to clear over Tel Aviv, the scars of yet another cycle of conflict remains etched across the skyline. Overnight airstrikes, air raid sirens, and hours spent in bomb shelters have left this bustling city subdued and shaken. While much of the military focus has been on the southern and northern borders, Tel Aviv, Israel's economic and cultural nerve center, has not been spared. Civilian neighbourhoods have borne the brunt of missile and barrages and retaliatory airstrikes. But the damage here is not just physical, it is economic too. Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, a barometer of the nation's financial health, has felt the tremors too. The businesses remain shut. Public transport operates in disruption, and tourism, once a lifeline, has all come to a complete halt. Republic, as always, brings you what's happening on the ground through multiple exclusive reports. In a short while from now, we're also going to be joined by a parliamentarian from Israel.
So this is a residential area here. This is a residential area, and you can see the skyscrapers were the target of the Iranian ballistic missile, and it can still collapse. And see here also behind me, this is one of the residential buildings where people also living, and it's completely destroyed. See how much the damage is just from one rocket. All the skyscrapers around, all of them almost completely destroyed. And there is now some danger that it can collapse, and that's why we can't stay here. But just see how big the damage. Behind me you can see the targets of the Iranian missiles. You can see that those are skyscrapers where people are working, people are living, and tens of thousands of people should come here today in the morning. But fortunately, just before the day started, the work day, the rocket hit the ground, and that's why there are so many casualties as it could be if the rocket would hit just a bit after that. Israel just yesterday released the restrictions, and cafes, restaurants, offices, workplaces could be open if there is a bomb shelter that they can reach in time after the alert. There are several minutes to reach the bomb shelter. And here the security forces ask us all the time to leave the area because it's not safe. Those skyscrapers can collapse, and it's not stable here, and also there's underground metro stations, and that's why the ground also can maybe collapse. And how extensive is the damage just from one ballistic rocket of Iran. And you can see that Iran targets civilian residential areas, business business areas, but there are no military targets here, no military bases, no strategic targets here. It's a residential area, and that's where Iranians are sending their missiles for almost a week. Here behind me you can see how extensive is the damage just from one rocket, and we need to go downstairs because it is really dangerous, and there's also tell us that we need to go more down. But see the damage to the skyscrapers here are around thousands of people supposed to go to a work. People are living here, people still in shock, and they are rescued. The army and the security forces try to understand how many people still could be survived, but now we need to go. Yeah, you see the police tell us that we need to go, and we are going together because it's dangerous here. And you can see that the police are nice. They just tell us for our life it's better to move because it's really dangerous to be there. You can see how extensive is here the damage just from one rocket.
In the past 24 hours, Israel and Iran have entered a dangerously escalated phase of the confrontation, with both sides exchanging intense missile and airstrikes. Iranian ballistic missiles struck multiple Israeli targets, including a hospital in Beersheba and the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange building, injuring hundreds and damaging key infrastructure. In a swift and forceful retaliation, Israel also launched airstrikes on Iran's nuclear and military facilities in Iraq and Natanz and Isfahan, signaling a direct challenge to Tehran's nuclear posture. As far as the Israelis are concerned, they say that they are essentially trying their best to cripple Iran from carrying out their nuclear program. Iran, on the other hand, accuses Israel of targeting civilian areas. And as a result, they have now started targeting several of the civilian areas. But Iran maintains that these are not civilian areas where the attacks have been carried out, but rather they are military installations that have been targeted. Is that really the case? We're going to put out the both sides. On the ground, what's happening? On your screens right now, these are the last images coming in from the last 24 hours. It's a quick recap before I introduce my very special guest tonight who's joining us. An Israeli parliamentarian who has also questioned some of the decisions that have been made in the past. He has served as an officer in the Israel Defense Forces, and he's been part of the Golan Brigade. He was elected as the mayor of Yehum. That was between 2010, Yehum, from 2010 to 2018. He was elected to the Israeli parliament in April 2019, and he served as a Minister of Strategic Affairs and Minister for Civic Issues. Joining us is Michael Bitton. Michael Bitton, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. It's a pleasure having you on our show. I want to straight away begin by asking you, there was a point in time that you were essentially urging the Iranians for a dialogue. This coming in from an Israeli parliamentarian, urging Iranians for dialogue. Does that really echo the sentiment of Israelis right now on the ground?
First of all, hello. The second, we are calling the people of Iran, not to the radical regime of Ayatollah that really became a threat and dangerous. And the most important thing that people who are watching us should ask themselves today, why the regime of Iran would like to destroy Israel. After all, Israel was involved in building Iran until 1980. We had good relations, we were involved there, and we were partners. Suddenly, radical Islamic regime that would like to occupy the world, that would like to implement radical Muslim philosophy against Israel, against the US, against the West in general. And why they hate us? No reason. Because we are here, they are there. The only reason they hate us is that they have ideology of destroying Israel. And that ideology is the nearest attitude to what the Nazis did, when you would like to hate someone without any reason. So we are fighting the regime, we are fighting the Ayatollah regime, but we would like to have peace and partnership with the people of Iran, as we used to have until 1980.
Mr. Bitton, you are also the same parliamentarian who has questioned this government with regards to some of the policies in place. Do you believe that Benjamin Netanyahu today is representing what every Israeli believes, or perhaps his coalition is also weakening at this point in time? Because Israel perhaps is also fighting a dirty war, as the German Chancellor has been saying.
We are united in this war. I will tell you why. We had the patience and we had the hope that there will be relations and peace with Iran. Iran planted the Hezbollah in Lebanon against us already in the beginning of the 80s. Iran planted the Islamic Jihad and Hamas in Gaza with money, with missiles, with weapons. And we got missiles on our towns. We are getting missiles on Sderot and missiles on Tel Aviv and missiles on Jerusalem over the last 40 years. We waited for the world. We waited that the world will understand that Iran is a threat, but no one acted. And now, when we didn't have a choice, when we saw that Iran is soon gonna get nuclear bomb, we had to act. So the people of Israel are united this moment, and we understand that this is existential threat on the existence of Israel for the future. And as you know, Iran was fooling the world. Iran was violating any agreement that they had with the international community and with the International Council of Atomic Energy. This regime planted terror all over the world. This regime created terror in Argentina, killing hundreds of Israelis. Thousands of Israelis died with the initiative of Iran over the years. We waited 40 years to this moment, and we could not and we cannot wait anymore. And why I tell you that? Because from the beginning of this war, they were sending on Israel more than 1,000 missiles. Where they were sending it? To neighborhoods, to houses, to hospitals, and they killed people. So imagine if they have a nuclear weapon. They will never hesitate to use it, even this moment.
But Mr. Bitton, can I get a quick answer from you, because you are part of the parliament, and I need to get this answer from you. Today, Israel finds itself in a precarious situation, because if the United States of America does not really help you, you can't really complete your program. Can I then ask you, is the United States of America all set to join the war? Do you believe that it is just a matter of time before the United States of America joins hands with Israel and carries out what you are saying, the final lap of the war?
For us, the United States is a strategic partner. We have strategic partnership with many international states, including India and many others. The US did not say that they are not allowing us to attack Iran. They totally said that we have the right to attack and to protect ourselves. And surprisingly, all the world is united about it. You should listen to Germany, to French, to England, and to the US. They all saying that the Ayatollah regime is a threat to the world. And because of that, we are getting international support. And what the Chancellor of Germany said, we are doing the dirty work for the world. That's totally true. We don't know yet if America and the US will decide to join the war, but they are totally supporting the aim of preventing Iran from having nuclear and having missiles that can threaten the world.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Michael Britton, for joining us on this broadcast. In fact, there is political unity on this entire issue coming up, the kind of backing that the Prime Minister has received. Let me now quickly take you through some of the areas that have been targeted by the Israelis. And this is what we know so far. Natanz nuclear facility in Isfahan, Iran's primary uranium enrichment facility, was the first day that it was targeted. Let's move on. Let's take you through the other details of areas that have been targeted. This is about approximately 15,000 centrifuges at Natanz that have been damaged. Then we have the Parchin military base in Tehran that's involved in nuclear weapons research and ballistic missile development that has been targeted. The third is the Islamic Republic of Iran broadcasting headquarters, that is, again, the state broadcaster that was hit during a live broadcast, and the Israelis maintain that it was basically used by the IRGC. Arak nuclear facility this afternoon, it was targeted. Key facility that is related to Iran's nuclear program that has also been targeted. The Kermanshah air base and that area has been targeted by the Israelis. It's home to Iranian army aviation base, and also this is the place from where missiles were being launched. Known to support fighter aircrafts and ballistic missile launchers, Kermanshah air base has also been targeted by the Israelis. Now, this is three of the other places. Then you also have the Dimona nuclear facility that has been targeted. Apart from this, and the Weizmann Teaching Institute. These are some of the places that have been targeted. In fact, what we have also done, ladies and gentlemen, we have got you details of the places that have been targeted and how Israel has basically responded. Republic basically continues to expand its ground presence in Israel to bring you minute-to-minute update. In fact, this morning, several places that were essentially targeted, these included civilian areas. This report has been filed by my colleague Ratnadeep Chakrabarti.
I'm currently standing in central Tel Aviv, which has been very much affected with the Iranian ballistic missile. As you can see at the back, most of the buildings are charred and have been destroyed. And if I could pan the camera to the other side and I can show you, most of the buildings here have been completely destroyed and the areas have been evacuated. Most of the citizens, once are flooding a street with people flooding in, eating in the cafes around, looks very empty right now. And at this point of time, we could hardly see anyone on the street. What do you see right now? What was before?
Very popular hub for Olim and Israelis alike. There's lots of different internet cafes in the area that are now closed because of the damage behind us. It used to be a very normal streets. Down there, there's a very well-known internet cafe that is now closed. Insane. I try not to walk here super often since Sunday because of all the glass and all the destruction, but eventually it's just unavoidable. So it's a bit freaky seeing it and just what it used to be. It used to be just a very normal place. You just see everyone, like as you walk down all the cafes, you see everyone you know, and now it's just totally different.
And let's focus on that building for a second. Can you show that building? That building is standing for sure, but that looks nothing like what it used to be.
No, standing, but it's just barely. I mean, thankfully a lot of the buildings in the area, as long as you're in the shelter, in the miklach or the mamak or the mamad, whatever you go to when there's a siren, you'll be safe. But then you exit and it's just absolutely chaos and destruction. So it's there's tons of broken windows. It just looks bad.
We've got you all the reports from Israel. Crossing over now to Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, a high-stake moment has essentially unfolded in the volatile skies of the Middle East. In a bold tactical move, Israel thereafter launched a Hermes precision drone, reportedly that was aimed at a strategic site inside Iran's Kermanshah region. But Iran now claims that the Iranian air defense system successfully intercepted the incoming drones before it could reach its intended target. In fact, on your screens right now, we have basically accessed these images that have been released by the Iranian Foreign Ministry. And if we can just quickly take you through the full frame of that interception claim that has has now actually been made by the Iranians. It's the Hermes drone that has been intercepted by the Iranians. In fact, they say that no damage has been inflicted on the Kermanshah airbase. Now, that's what the Iranians essentially claim, and that's the area, that's the drone that you see has been targeted by the Iranians. On your screens right now, these are the images, two sets of images that we have. One of the launch of this particular drone coming in from Israel, and that was the footage that was released by the Israelis. Now, Iranians have countered that by putting out another set of images, which basically shows that perhaps that particular drone was intercepted. Now, in terms of the areas that have been targeted by the Iranians, in fact, Iranians' attack on Israel. Now, they have essentially made these are the following claims that Iranians have made. Iran says that they have basically targeted Tel Aviv, the Kiryat district. Now, this is described as Israeli Pentagon. That's the headquarters that have been targeted. Let's move on. There are a few other areas that they have said that they have targeted, which is houses, government and military facilities, including the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv, that's the Kiryat district. In fact, they say that the oil refinery, the major economic hub that's in Haifa that they have targeted, that's the Bazan oil refinery that Iran has targeted using Fatah missiles and a few others that they've actually used. Soroka Medical Center, remember, that happens to be one of the biggest hospitals in Iran, situated adjacent to the IDF command center and the intelligence camp that was attacked this morning around 7 o'clock. Let's move on to the other hospitals that have been used for treatment of injured IDF soldiers, was targeted by the Iranians this morning. And finally, you have Dimona nuclear facility, center of Israel's nuclear weapons program. Iran claims that they have also targeted the Dimona nuclear facility, and the existence of nuclear weapons that have been facilitated by Dimona serves as a deterrent against potential attacks. And this, the Iranians say that they have also been successful. Now, this was another place from where Republic had reported. That's the Weizmann Institute of Teaching Lab, leading research institute of the country's science and technology educational program that has also been targeted. Now, this is what the Iranians are essentially claiming. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another country which is of equal importance, that is Lebanon. And the very fact that Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, has been completely weakened in this entire process. It turns out that Lebanon has now told Hezbollah not to engage in it and to keep away from it. In fact, this is a report coming in from Beirut by Republic's reporter. Take a look.
So amid the Israeli-Iranian escalation, the official stand of Lebanon remains to maintain Lebanon neutral and at a distance from what's happening on. The President and the Prime Minister condemned the Israeli airstrike on Iran on a Friday, and beside of that, they are working on keeping Lebanon away. However, Israel is still threatening Lebanon, and it's attacking Lebanon almost each day, as the Israeli military spokesperson just announced today that their strikes will continue on Lebanon and on Gaza, alongside with the widespread strikes on Iran. By this, Lebanon is still a spectator, with a chance of and the probability of escalation from any time being started from the side of Israel.
Well, that's all that we could pack in this edition of This is Exclusive. Coming up, trending with my colleague Rakshit.